Hey y'all, here to talk about some arrays. So we've already had an introduction to arrays. We're just going to practice, especially using some for loops. The file I have here right here is just array practice. So as we already know, we can declare, say, an array of ints by using the declaration right here with the brackets and then calling it whatever. I'll just call it R for right now, short for array, and then I'll use the new operator as well as int again, and I'll just say it's 3 large. It holds its length 3. Now again, to store values in there, obviously we index at 0, so that's the first one, but 17, something like that. R of 1, store in 32, not really in. Then R of 2 is -5. Okay, so now if I wanted to print those things, I could just do system.out.print command, and I can just print however I want, or excuse me, I can print exactly how they are, starting with that. You can space it like that just to make it kind of obvious what I'm printing. So I'm just printing this particular thing, and then I could similarly, I could copy and paste it and change each thing. So that is a 0. Change that to a 1. But as you can tell, once this gets a little bit larger, it's really annoying. So we don't want to do that. Instead, we want to have a better way. That's what we started. Was where we left off in class, or where we talked about in class. So in I equals 0, start indexing at 0. For I is less than. There's just 3 things here, so that's kind of nice and easy. And then and then just increment it the I. And I can put my braces there, and I'll save it. Hit save to it. Save the file. Build it. Compile it and run it. And okay, maybe I want to. What just happened? Right. So what did I do? So I printed whatever's in array 0, position 0, 3 times. That's not what I want, right? Instead, I want to use that variable that I created that I'm running over to print each of those things. And they're all right next to each other. So maybe I'll toss in a space, make it look nice. Or similarly, I can just have it print right there. And you have it using println, and you have them a vertically printed kind of column, row vector, column vector. Anyway, so now we could do that. But as you can tell, what if I wanted to keep adding things, or let's say I wanted to put in the multiples of 3 here. Well, for small numbers, that's fine. But what if I wanted to do the first, say, 15 multiples of 3? That would be a lot more, right? So 50, 45, well, 42, because you're starting at 0. I don't want to sit here and do that. So instead, I can even just actually use a for loop to automate this process, right? So I can actually store things in there. So for int, and I'm actually going to use I again because it's a local variable, so we can reuse it. It's done. It ignores itself after, or it's no longer in memory after this for loop ends. But for int I equals 0, I less than, we'll do the first 15 multiples, right? And then I plus plus, right? And there's my little for loop. Now the difference is, though, obviously, instead of the 0, what's supposed to go where? Do I put the I in here, or do I put the I in here? What do I do? Well, if I want to receive in from this array the different positions, right? So the 0th position, the first position, that's the i's that would be running over, right? So I'm going to put my I right here, and then what I want to put in there. I could just put zeros all in there. That'd be fine. In fact, and I did that, and you see I printed the first 3 things, so I could change that to 15 as well. right? And so again, this is really nice. But now what I did, well, I got a whole lot of zeros. So that's obviously, it's not what I wanted, right? 15 of them to be exact. So instead, what should I, well, I could just put in I. Let's see what that does. You run that, and, oh, well, I just kind of put those numbers in there, right? I got those numbers in there sequentially from 0 to 14. But that's not what I want. I want the multiples of 3. So how about I just multiply I by 3. I run it. And there you go. I got all of my multiples of 3 by storing them, or excuse me, by multiplying I times 3 and storing it into the ith position. And so that's what we're going to be kind of working on tomorrow, is playing around with putting different things into the array, using for loops, different multiples and different things. Again, playing around with what goes where, and then being able to print them out. Now, again, this is one way to do it, but here I am inside my main. So my main method is what I was doing there, but now I could even go ahead and write a. But this is nice when I know how long the array is, right? It's 15. That's what I'm going to print with. But what if I don't know how long the array is going to be? I could. I mean, the easiest thing I could do would be just say int x equals, and let's say I want to go to 17 now, right? Something different, okay? So instead of 15, well, now I can just use my variable, right? Well, what else did I change? Right there and right there, right? So by using that variable, now I did more, and I can just change it in one spot, right? 200, right? Even, and I can run it, and it changes it automatically, and I have now the first 200 starting with 0, and the first 200 multiples of 3. So it's, again, a really powerful tool, right? And so all I had to do was using this variable that, so now what is it? X is a nice variable to use for math when you're first talking, but what is that, right? It's the length of it, right? And so I could even replace that with length, or even better, if I just use my, let's say I wanted to put it in here, put 200 in here. Well, what is that thing? It's the length of the array. So we do r.length, and we can run it, and it should still work, right? So we can take whatever the array is and just run from starting from 0 all the way up to array.length of the I. Now, for the homework questions you'll see on my blog, you'll want to use this kind of skills and apply it, but using, again, printing out things you can do now pretty easily, and modify it however you want now that you understand the pieces.